next speakers are, oh, you know what? I get to just say their names. So hopefully I won't butcher Matt's last name. Is it Bartho?
Very close. Bertho.
Bertho. Oh, son of a
You were
gun.
very close.
So good, Matt Bertho and Angela Goodman. I am going to let them introduce themselves to you because they are
Yeah.
All right.
together absolutely beautiful. So
Okay.
Ladies
I
first.
we all belong to the same Connected Leaders Academy networking group. And I had a what we call a virtual coffee with Angela and fell in love with her. And then in turn fell in love with Matt. And then I met them in Maryland. So what can I say? Here you go.
And
Take it
and we in
away.
turn, yeah, we in turn fell in love with you, Marianne. So thank you so much for having us on this morning. We are super excited to be a part of this summit. I know, right? Big claps. So just to introduce myself super fast, I am a business strategist coach focusing on cash flow and financials. And through that process, created a program called Evolve, which is a boot camp mastermind for entrepreneurs that focuses on kind of the whole person as opposed to just your business. So today, Matt and I kind of decided, you know what, we're going to talk about the rocky road and relationships and communication and how difficult all that can be as entrepreneurs and doing that together.
Yeah, that was great, Angela.
Yeah.
Great communication introduction. So, if it's a little bit loud, we are in the library of the Renaissance Hotel in New York City. I'm here to visit one of my former students, Chase. He is the musical director for Ben Platt's show here in New York City on Broadway. So he told me this 19 years ago that he was going to do this, and now he's living his dream. And so my name is Matt Berthot. I'm a voice coach slash teacher. I work with people on craft, which is voice technique, artistry, which is storytelling, and performance magic, getting people to feel what you want them to feel and see what you want them to see. Basically, I let people's soul come out and say hello. I run an event called Unmute, where business professionals come and they learn about how to speak in a boardroom, a large stage, a small stage, and a podcast studio. We're actually planning our next one here in New York City, looking about maybe October 17th, 18th for that. Um, but yeah, Angela and I met last year at my first Unmute in New York City, and we just kind of fell in love. That's what happened.
So we often get asked as entrepreneurs, how do you, right? How do you function in a relationship when you're both successful, when you're both succeeding, when you're both going through all of the ups and downs of being in a relationship, trying to perform at your highest level? And I don't know that we have great answers for that other than literally we work on it every single day. I think Oliver Reed said it best. You are the best that you are ever going to be today. And so you just keep going and keep growing. So that was what we wanted to talk about today, is kind of how you best communicate with other people, how that can give you more adversity if you're not careful. What do you have to add to that, Matt?
Well, I think it's important that you know yourself well. In the self-help world, in the business world, in the entrepreneur world, we are all aware of a lot of help that is out there to help us be a better version of ourselves, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and then abundantly. Life happens for us, not to us, just like Ed Milet talks about a lot. Um, but I think that, for me, my journey 6 years ago started. Um, I didn't know about Ed Milet, didn't know about Andy Frisella. I joined the Arate Syndicate, and I was at a live event and someone turned around and said, "Hey, did you know that Tony Robbins has a voice coach?" And I was like, "I can do that. I've been coaching voice for 20 years." And that's how Angela and I connected, was with Arate Syndicate. But the point about the communication part is like what you're doing, Marianne, by communicating on Facebook and Instagram and putting yourself out there, that's a big part of being an entrepreneur in the time that we're here right now. I was just showing Angela, this is a little tool for all of you guys. I don't know if you have it. It's called read.ai. It takes your Zoom coaching, your Zoom calls, your meetings, and it breaks it down into sentiment, engagement, tells you if you talk too much in a meeting. But it's a good tool because for me and my coaching, I bought it. I bought it the monthly package, and the reason why I bought it is because it literally tells me if I'm doing my job, like with the actual data, right? So am I going over the voice technique? Am I going over the storytelling? Am I going over the magic part of the voice? Am I talking too much? And so it gives you a percentage of who's talking more, and it also tells you if they're engaged. And with the enterprise version that I got, it does a little like highlight reel of your call. So it's pretty incredible. But I think the biggest challenge for us has been, I've never been with anybody that's a rock star like Angela that can actually do great, amazing things in a timely manner. And that's awesome. I love that. But also it allows me to say, okay, this is more in your strength. I'm out. I'm bowing out of this thing.
Yeah. Part of understanding where you fit in your success journey is what's going on around you, right? And understanding how to communicate with the people around you, understanding what their communication styles look like. And then figuring out kind of how best to play off of one another. I found in my communication life very early on in my career that I was very in people's face. I was very forward. I was very aggressive in communication. And that was a big challenge for me. I found a lot of adversity with that. Most men were very intimidated by me. And what?
Really?
5'4", man. I am not intimidating. I've got a great smile, but I didn't use it back then. So, but it's about understanding yourself and how you fit in and communicate with other people. And I think the tool that Matt mentions is great because you can go back and physically look at what you're doing because you don't know when you're in the time of doing it, for sure.
Well, and how many of us love what we do, right? And if you don't love what you do, I'm just going to tell you, did you follow your dream? Your dream, not what people wanted you to do. And I say this a lot to my clients. Why is your dream and not my dream? And don't you want to find out why it's your dream? I think a lot of people, I know when I was in this space with Angela, she was friends with a lot of people that I really looked up to. And, you get a little bit timid, a little bit imposter syndrome, and I grew up, as a teacher in public school. And so my communication literally was with my students because I could not communicate with the teachers around me, especially when I started doing the personal development stuff and you kind of started growing a lot. I know, Angela and I talk all the time about how amazing it is that we can actually talk about energy and spirit and meditation and 75 hard and working out and eating healthy. But I think something that should be said on this for sure is the work that Marianne, that Oliver, that all of us do. Don't get like crazy scared when your circle really starts to change. It could be your family, it could be your colleagues, it could be your friends that you've had for a very long time. This is about the rocky road. I recently went through a divorce, and Angela
Went through a divorce.
went through a divorce. But
yes, long before we met each other.
yeah, and Marianne went through a divorce. I mean, yeah, everybody raise your hand.
I know.
Your divorce.
Yeah, right. That's part of the rite of passage.
Yeah, but one of the reasons why that happened was because I started growing a lot by doing this personal development. And at one point, this was last spring, like last year, 2023, I remember her saying to me, Matt, I feel like you're going this way and I'm going this way. And it didn't click in my head. I was like, what are you talking about? But it's hard. Like it's hard to accept God's will for us and to say yes to the call. Um,
Yeah, I think that was great. And Dr. Reed mentioned that too. We never know when we're going to be called to do things, and we have to be open to that. In my divorce process, similar to Matt's, communication is so important. And in growing and working and developing myself, I kind of left my spouse behind and didn't realize that he wasn't open to growth in the same way that I was. So part of that challenge and that struggle is saying, oh, you know what? I love this person. I love who they are, but they're not going to be with me on the rest of my journey. And that was a very hard decision for me to make. It took about 3.5 years to get to that point. Yes, it was very long and very painful, but now I look back and I say, well, and now I get to be with someone who literally is committed to growing every single day, just like I am. And now sort of the sky is the limit. So as those of you know, who have been in tough relationship situations, right? You're more successful today because you made those decisions, even though it was super rocky and super hard. And you have now a community of people who can support you that have been through the same things. And we both have had that support going forward through each other in after our processes, shortly after our processes were over. But the community that's here, as we all raised our hands, right? We're all here to support as you go through it. We find Matt had an event last week in Wisconsin, and we were the following day there was another event for a group that we're a part of. And we had the opportunity to run a workshop together on communication, relationships, and finances. Not easy topics, all super deep. And one of the common things that we see in entrepreneurship is people really struggle to connect with other people.
mm-hmm. There in the room, just that room alone, there were a lot of really successful entrepreneurs, multimillionaires, but they don't know how to actually connect to the person that they're talking to, and they're afraid to show their emotion. And that's one thing I really love about Angela in our relationship, is that I'm able to show all parts of me, like the most crazy, loving, amazing parts, and also the ugliest, depressing, sad, pitiful, um, despair.
Well, I don't see much of that anymore, but
But, I encourage all of you, like, the work on yourself first is so important. Get a therapist, talk to somebody. You know, I've done NLP like 3 or 4 times with my buddy Justin, hypnotherapy. I went to a couple ayahuasca ceremonies. I work out every freaking day, but it takes time, like trauma, hardships. It truly does take time.
yeah.
Last year at this time, I had no idea I was going to get divorced. I was getting ready to go to Portugal, just finished a cool event in Madison last year at this time. But I think the hardest part of communicating is not being afraid to be yourself completely, because we're afraid that we're going to offend someone.
I think in my journey, probably the most difficult question someone ever asked me was about 3.5 years ago. They literally asked me, what do I want for myself? And I couldn't answer that question. I had just been producing and turning out and doing work and achieving, and I couldn't even sit back and say, gosh, what do I want for my life? And my process started with human design. I'm a big proponent of that. So if you don't know what that is, write it down and look it up. Human design is an amazing tool to connect you to who you are and what your God-given gifts and talents are. And through that, I learned alignment with what I'm doing today. So I'm a person who is meant to be doing a lot of things all at one time. I'm a person who is meant to be communicating with people. I'm a person who's meant to do something for a short period, lay it down, and move on to something else. I didn't realize that through my whole life. I was always trying to do one thing and then keep it. My very first career was 15 years long. I changed jobs every 3 years, but it was still 15 years with the same company. And I learned now, well, God, no wonder I was miserable. I'm not meant for that. I'm meant for you. I'm going to be with you until the end of time. But anyway, a little bit of a digression there.
No, it's good. Like this is about the rocky road of success, right? Being, for me personally, just like with Angela working in corporate and doing sales, for me, I went to college to be a teacher. I am a teacher. That's what I am. And I paid my dues, 19 years in public school taught me a lot about people. And what I know from age 4 years old all the way to 80 years old is we're all the same. We are all the same, every single one of us. But the key is learning about who you are. So I'm going to ask the 4 questions.
Oh, okay.
Because I think this will be helpful. These are 4 questions I ask my clients, my students. I've done it for like the last 20 years. The first question is, what do you love? What do you love more than anything in the whole world? What do you love? So for me, I was asked that question when I was 17 years old. My girlfriend Kylie broke up with me. And my counselor, Bob Tessman, said, Matt, what do you love? And I said, Kylie. And he said, no, what do you love that you're not doing right now? And I said, well, I like to sing a little bit. He said, okay, we're going to enroll you in choir. Now, if that man wouldn't have asked that question, what do you love? I would not be talking to you right now. I'd probably be just hanging out in my little small town of 12,000 people in the middle of the United States.
Never found you.
Nope.
Wow.
Probably coaching some sport. That's probably what I would have been doing. Next question, number 2. So number 1 was, what do you love? Number 2, what makes you tick? What gives you excitement? What gives you joy? What makes you tick? For me, it's watching the light bulb go off in my clients, the moment, or change tears. When I see change tears happen, I know that transformation's about to happen. Here we go. Number 3, I used to say purpose. Now I'm saying purposes because we have many. What are your purposes? What are your purposes? I'm here to help. I'm here to inspire. I'm here to heal. I'm here to speak, teach. I have a podcast. I sing. I perform. Purposes. I'm a cook. I can cook.
You're a really good cook. He is a really good cook. Yeah. Oh, she's in. All right. We're good. We'll have you down. The pizza.
And the
That's
4th
pizza.
question is it's not really fair because it's the hardest question we're all trying to figure out in the entire world. Here we go. Why are you on Earth? What is your reason to be on Earth? I'm very, very lucky because I know when I ask these questions on my podcast to my podcast guests, all 4 of these questions generally, they have to really dig. But this one for me, it's taken me a while, but my purpose, my reason why I am on Earth is to help people's soul come out and say hello.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how simple it is. So that's something that is going to, and why do I ask these questions as a voice coach, as a teacher, right? Because it gives the client, gives the student, gives the person ownership of their actual soul and their dreams and what they actually want. And most of the time, like, those questions have nothing to do with money.
No
Stuff.
No. And what I have found in the small amount of time and the work that I do with people with their money is once they identify who they are, what they want to do, and how they want to do it to be happy, fulfilled, and love what they do every day, the money follows. It just comes. It shows up.
Sure does.
Whether you understand how you're going to monetize it or not from the beginning is a whole nother story altogether. But once you're doing what you are super passionate about and what your soul is directed to do, the compensation comes, the Lord provides. I have seen that over and over again with clients, and it's one of the things that is one of the most beautiful parts of transformation that I get to see in my line of work. And so it's funny because when Matt and I met, we both talked about how we were going to help each other in our businesses. And so me helping him with his financials was very uncomfortable for him in the beginning. Him helping me disconnect business Angela or reconnect business Angela and regular Angela was very painful for me in the beginning.
Ooh, can I talk about that?
Oh, in a second when I'm done.
Okay.
Okay. So at either rate, I lost my train of thought. But what I was saying was, once I realized how to make that connection and he asked me those questions and we started talking about that, and I started to see the change and transformation in my clients by getting them to really reconnect to themselves. I saw the beauty of the two of us together. Yeah.
So one of the disconnects that I notice as a voice coach and teacher, it took me a while to really enjoy speakers and performers because my brain is constantly going, okay, they could do this, they could do this, they could do this. But the biggest disconnect that is like the secret sauce, right? Is if you speak without emotion attached, you will never be remembered. Nothing out of your mouth will ever be remembered if you have no emotion attached. Now, it could be sad, it could be hurt, it could be depression,
it could be joy. Let's go happy.
Well, I was getting there. Just hold up, man. Golly. It could be wholeness, it could be love, it could be joy, it could be bliss, which is the ones that I encourage you to choose, right? But if you are just spouting off a bunch of stuff out of your mouth, which I hear a lot of speakers do, and I challenge every single speaker that's speaking after us, before us, from now on, when you take the stage, when you're on a podcast, you better show up whole. You better let your soul come out and say hello and feel love, feel joy, feel bliss. And step in, let your soul come out. Let your soul come out and say hello. Every single one of us chose to be in the profession that we're doing. We did not, and I like to use this, like we have these legs of life, right? Like college and high school and, baseball or babies, marketing, I'm in corporate, blah, blah, blah. And so these are years of life, right? And all of you that are on this amazing summit today, your lives are now starting to do this. And you're like, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Oh, this is what's happening. It's all coming together. And what's really cool about it is you get to figure out how all these legs of life fit together. How, for instance, I'll make it quick. How in the world does the Kansas City Chiefs in football fit with Voice by Matt? Right? So Angela, we're in Banff, Canada at a conference. She reaches out to a person and she gets real excited about it, starts jumping up and down in the hallway. And I'm like, what the crap is wrong with you? What's going on? She's like, look, she got to be on my podcast, Darian Thomas, who is the son of my favorite football player of all time, Derek Thomas, who died tragically in a car wreck in 1999. And so she got him to be on my podcast. And it just came out. It just came out this last week. And now he's my client too. And so now we have been talking, because we also build events together, about doing an event in Kansas City for these professional athletes to talk about their story, their foundation, because there's some incredible stories in the professional arena of sports. But if I would have been limited in my mindset, I would have been like, I'm never going to get to be with the Chiefs, man. How in the world is this going to happen?
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome.
But it's when we let ourselves be open to the possibilities that God has for us. And we are walking in our purpose.
Yes. I love it.
Yeah.
I love all of it. What a different place a year ago. What a different place. Yeah, it was all rocky, all ugly, all a hot mess about a year ago for both of us, really. Yeah. Yeah. And so we are an example of the rocky road to success 100%. And when we met each other in September, all of that kind of started to shift and the confirmations started coming and the work is still going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to face it though.
Yep.
The hard
Yeah,
stuff
it's
that,
ugly.
yeah. And sit with it and meditate with it and write about it and talk about it, speak about it, be honest about it, because it's your life, it's your story, it's not mine. You know, you got one shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
One shot.
Thank you so much for having us on today, Marianne.
Thank you both so much for sharing everything. It was absolutely amazing. I love Banff. Banff is one of my favorite places in Canada.
Yes.
I absolutely adore it. I can't wait till I go in the fall. I've been there in the wintertime. I was actually there for Christmas and New Year's one
Oh,
year
wow.
and totally loved it. I always wanted to go away at Christmas, and it was always, here, family, blah, 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 whatever,
Yeah.
big at home kind of thing. And I really wanted to go. So it was great. I still want to go to a warm place one time at Christmas, but yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it was
I
on
love-
my bucket list. It was on my bucket list. And I told Matt, I said, I have a conference in Banff. Do you want to come? It's been on my bucket list. And he was like, yeah, I guess. I don't know. Where is that? And I said, well, go look it up. He said, no, I'll see it when we get there. I'll see it when we get there. I said, okay, you do that. And then we got there and he's like, oh my God, this place is amazing. Can we come back here all the time? I said,
Isn't it?
okay.
I
Yeah.
love-
Yeah.
Well, I'm a big lover of mountains. So I've never been
Mhm.
to Colorado, but I think I would love it because I love
Yeah.
the ocean. I love mountains. So those two things are just like, I just love it. But I'm an air sign, so I'm gonna love mountains. Matt,
Oh, when's your birthday, Marianne?
February 13th,
Oh,
Oh, right
I
before
love it.
Valentine's Day.
Love it.
Valentine's Eve.
Yeah.
Literally, I think I was born 10 to 10 at night.
I
So
love it.
yeah, something like that. So no, that's beautiful. And you're a beautiful couple and you're just gorgeous. And this is a perfect example of a year ago, a
Yeah.
total hot mess. Fast forward, look at this. Love
Yeah.
and joy and
Yeah.
success and abundance and who knows what else. And yeah, just absolutely amazing. Matt, I'm going to steal your questions and I'm going to use them in my podcast. You're welcome to use mine. I have some that I always use as well. I have one that I use. I have used this one for probably well over, oh my gosh, closer to 15 years because I used to work as a recruiter, as a
Mhm.
term. I hate that term, but so recruiter. And I always used to ask everyone, if you had 1 hour to sit down with anyone and it was 5 people, who would it be? Dead or alive, celebrities or family or whatever you want. You get 1 hour. Who do you have? And it tells me so much about them.
Mhm.
Some people will pick all family members. Some people will pick all, I don't know, sports figures. Some will do all, I don't know, motivational speakers, actors, I don't know, whatever. It's interesting. It's interesting to hear what people have to say. So
Well, I would pick Jesus. I think that'd be very interesting.
mhm.
And I would ask him about
He's one of
everything that happened in his teenage years through his 20s.
mine. Mhm. How'd you end up on the cross?
And you
What
would add
happened?
more books to the Bible.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, and yeah, he's actually one of mine. I have I don't know, sometimes they change, but I always end up with like 6 because I can't do 5. I don't know. I just can't do it.
Yeah, just one is tough,
I
Marianne.
know, I know. But if it had to be just one, it would have to be Jesus. But I asked for 5, so I give them 5. Sometimes they give me 6, sometimes they give me 4. It just
Mm.
depends, which personality type.
Sometimes they just show you that they're rule breakers.
Who would you pick?
What?
Who would you pick?
Who would I pick?
Yeah.
I would pick the same as you.
Yeah. See, I would have,
Teddy Roosevelt.
Oh boy, here we
That'd
go.
be fun.
The list is about a mile long.
I
Yeah.
have Nelson Mandela. Who do you have?
Oh, Gandhi. Gandhi's one of mine too.
Michelangelo, if I could speak his language.
Michelangelo. But
Yeah,
but that's not an
Michelangelo.
issue. This is a wish world, so
Michelangelo.
wish.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a good one for sure.
I have my mom and my
Oh,
grandma, like, that kind of stuff too. So I have a mixture. I have a mixture of this and this.
that's
You know,
awesome.
then I've got like Oprah.
There you go.
I don't like it. And then I don't know, Michelle Pfeiffer, because
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, you're not that far removed from Oprah, in all honesty. Like, you're not.
that's actually my big dream is when I was talking to my coach and stuff, and he's like, well, what do you want to do? Because him and I owned a radio station at one point, and I'm like, it's not really my thing. It's okay, we had fun, but I need the camera, I need this. And then he did a documentary movie, and I was in it just as one of his clients and more as a testimonial. But I was in there, I was there for like maybe 12 minutes. It was quite lengthy, and it was interesting because we actually launched the movie in a big a Cineplex theater. So here I am looking at myself like this, 60 feet, and I'm like, holy smoke, this is the weirdest thing I've ever experienced.
I can't even imagine.
So cool. And I'm like, yeah, it's all good. And then he was going to do this movie, and I go, I'm not really, the acting thing, not really my thing, but I could do the talk show thing. No
There you
problem.
go.
And then I think these were born, all these summits were born. And so here we
Yeah.
are. Yeah, no, it's so much fun. Anyways, thank you both so much.
Thank you.
So
You're
much
welcome.
fun. I love you so much. You're
Love
awesome.
you.
So happy. I'm so happy. And thank you so much for sharing with everyone.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us.
Mwah.
Our pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have a great day. Enjoy New York. I love
All right.
Thank you.
you.
Bye.
Beautiful.